I'm Steve Williams, and this is Scooter and the Sticks. Today I'm riding up into the Allegheny Plateau with my friend Paul Ruby on my Himalayan, and he's on a Bonneville, Triumph Bonneville that was used in the Terminator movie. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Someone suggested in a comment on my blog that the Himalayan might be the perfect companion for me. I always thought Paul was the perfect riding companion, but I'm going to talk a little bit about why that might be true, that the Himalayan motorcycle is a perfect companion for the way I ride. So let's get going. There's Paul on his Triumph Bonneville from the Terminator movie. We'll talk to him a little bit about that. But I want to talk now a little bit about the physical comfort of the bike, the physical fit. I'm almost 6'3", or weigh 200 pounds, and the bike is fine for me. Seating position is good, posture is good, no complaints there. I guess what surprised me the most is how light this motorcycle feels. It's about 150 pounds lighter than my BMW K75, but it feels way, way lighter. And it's probably because of where the weight is distributed. And this feels nimble, easy to handle, much more maneuverable than the BMW. And I guess the other thing that came up when I was reading online about this motorcycle is how terrible the stock seat is. Now, I've heard the same kind of things when I bought my Vespa scooter 15 years ago, that, oh, you're going to have to change the seat immediately, it's terrible, along with the shocks and the brakes and the tires and the exhaust. I've put almost 44,000 miles on the Vespa on the stock seat, and it's fine. So I'll hold judgment on the stock seat of the Himalayan until such time as I actually find it uncomfortable. But who knows? Maybe I actually have a genetically inspired iron butt. But that really brings me to another issue I wanted to discuss, and that's why do so many riders seem to find fault with their brand new motorcycle. So right now we're headed up onto the Allegheny Plateau. A lot of people call them mountains, but it's really just a big elevated flat area that's been eroded by water over the past few million years, I suppose. I'm not really familiar with the geology. There's some beautiful places to ride up here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this idea that I see so much in things I read and watch online about changing the Himalayan. I'll talk about this motorcycle specifically, but it applies to almost everything, I think. And it's immediately finding shortcomings in terms of power. You know, want to upgrade performance items, you want to change the suspension, change the handlebars, change the grips, change the mirrors, change the tires, change the wheels. And I'm certainly familiar with the kind of obsessive tendency to do that stuff. I used to do it a lot with cameras, you know, imagining all the things I was going to photograph and places I was going to go and all the equipment I needed to do that. and I would get the equipment and never use it because I would never go and do any of those things. And I wonder how often that's true with motorcycles and riders doing things to their bikes. Now, granted, it's an interesting pastime to tinker on the motorcycle, and if you like doing that and that's your goal, great. But I keep reminding myself and trying to keep my eye on the prize, and that's it. I want to ride. And right off the showroom floor, this motorcycle was ready to ride, and I really didn't need to do anything to it. I've only made a few changes. I put the Royal Enfield hand grips on the bike because I want to keep the wind off my hands because I ride in cold weather. I'm not worried about blazing trails or doing single trail rides. I just want to keep the wind off, and they were a great choice. I put the Givy engine guards on just in case I drop the bike. That made sense. I didn't need to ride. I didn't need to have any experience to make that decision. And I put the SRC Moto master cylinder guard over the master cylinder to keep myself from kicking and potentially breaking the master cylinder, because unlike most normal humans, I walk like a duck. So my feet are turned out, my heels are turned in, and I could easily see myself banging on there. So I'm not going to make any more changes to this motorcycle until I've ridden it a while, so that when I do decide to change something, it's based on experience and not on some whim or some fantasy about what I might do at some point in time. But right now, boy, it's a beautiful day looking out. And you can see why someone would think this is a mountain climbing up these hills. But looking off that way, you can see beautiful views. It's surprising the state hasn't cut any overlooks here. When the leaves are out, you can't see any of that. In the wintertime, you can see what's happening here. We are getting some melt here as we get higher up. Might mean I have to take the hose out, squirt the motorcycle off again. But beautiful views. Riding into Moshannon State Forest.
What we have here is a 2002 Triumph Bonneville T100. Now this is not an ordinary Bonneville, this is a movie star vehicle, meaning it's the actual motorcycle in the movie Terminator 3. If you remember the opening scene where John Connor's driving along and on his motorcycle at night, and then he's coming around the bend and there's a deer and he falls down the ground, the motorcycle goes sliding. This is the baby, this is a motorcycle. So it's got all these manipulations by the Hollywood production people. It's been painted and scratched up, and it's got rust over here. but it's made it look old.
Sounds good. Let's take a look at the motorcycle. So you can see this you can see the iron bar down along there that is unique to that bike.
And they chewed all this up to make it look old, and this too. And they sprayed all sorts of gooey stuff around. This is fake tape from duct tape. That's not rust, that's just some spray stuff they put on there to make it look old.
Let's get a wide shot of this bike. Looks pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I'll have to say, it's pretty damn ugly compared to this beauty here.
Oh yeah, it's ugly compared to that beauty.
Anyway, it's getting cold out here. It's definitely not 45 up here on the mountain.
A little colder. Do you have a thermometer on your new motorcycle?
I do.
What it
Gives you the ambient temperature of the
cycle?
motorcycle, I think.
What is
of the engine. Gives you the ambient
Okay.
temperature of
We'll
the what's it say? The motorcycle, I think, of the engine.
Oh, the engine.
We'll see. What's it say? It says the temperature is 42. My guess is that may be right.
That might be right.
Shit. So I'm going to wrap up this episode of Scooter in the Sticks. I'm glad you're able to join me. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I try to respond to everything. And if you like this video, please subscribe, give me a like, and try to determine whether people want to see more riding videos here. So, as always, take care, be safe.